tonight's episode, Murder by the Numbers.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
It's 11:59 at Radio Free. It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
Hi, and welcome everybody to our Daily Gun Show. Come to you live every weeknight at midnight Eastern, and we talk about guns for like an hour. And today it is Thanksgiving on in the year 2022. So we'll talk about Turkish shotguns, I guess. Is this the tradition? People are asking about illegal puppy that lives here illegally. And if my audio is working, I'll flip over to this. And is this going to work? There he is. He sleeps here next to me now. The other dog is approximately over there, keeping an eye on the whole situation. If you can see her over there or not. So that's the update. Nobody wants him. And I got to pay for his food and everything else now. For the moment. Oops. Till we can find a better place for him to live at. All right. So oh, Clover stayed up late. Look at that. It's a Thanksgiving miracle. All right, so first off, we go live every weeknight at midnight, even when it's a holiday, even when they say we shouldn't go live. They say it's not appropriate to go live, but we do it every night. It's episode 14 something or another, so we've been doing this since 2016, every single night, 1,400 something episodes. Never missed a show, never missed one single episode. In fact, many of the episodes we've done while on the road from 19 different states, I think. And since we've been doing this for a while, and we're not necessarily getting rich off of it yet, and not looking to get famous or create like some kind of waste of time for everybody, what we are trying to do is accomplish some things. So on Monday, we talk about motivation, how to be a content creator in 2022, why you might want to be a content creator in 2022, the perks and advantages of such, and all the cheats and shortcuts. So it makes it super easy and profitable to be a content creator, especially if you're focused on 2A. We make that easy on Mondays. Tuesdays is when we talk about 2A, the nitty gritty, the down and dirty, where the rubber meets the road, where the puppies meet the blankets, so to speak. Flip this back over to emphasize the puppy part. And then flip it back over. Oh, you can't hardly see him because of this giant thing in the way here. Maybe later on he'll do something interesting. And then on Wednesdays, we have a little fun. Oh man, I keep hitting the wrong button over here. If I had an intern, I wouldn't have to push any of these buttons. We talk about pop culture, guns in our media, in our language, in our society, and in our culture. And then we have some fun with the tactical quiz. On Thursdays, when it's not Thanksgiving, we talk about travel and training. So today we're going to travel to the exotic world of Turkey where all the shotguns come from. And then on Fridays, we take a look backwards at the week and attempt to archive all the important stuff that went on that was focused on what our Second Amendment protects. We do stuff on Saturdays and Sundays also, but the main show, the Daily Gun Show, is weeknights. So welcome everybody for joining us, or welcome, and thank you for joining us. Let's see who's showed up tonight. We got DJ joining in. Jacob is a new channel member, so people can be a member over on YouTube. That's appreciated. People can also join our projects or subscribe to our projects on Patreon. Patreon, there's a little scroll going at the bottom of the screen right now that each night welcome or thanks our Patreons for giving us the time to do this. Most of them give us like a cup of coffee, or some of them lunch each month, and that accumulates and lets us work on projects like this without any commercials, where there's no push to make you buy something. I could be honest in my reviews if I ever did a review, and it's not a focus on stuff. It's a focus on how we got here, whose shoulders we're standing on, and optimistically what we've got ahead of us. And also, I like to challenge the lazy exploiters, because they're not helping nothing. So anyway, thanks to Patreons for making it possible for us to do this. We also have something like 16 YouTube channel members, maybe more than that. After Gizzard booked off of Patreon a while back, some people dropped Patreon, and then some of them jumped over to YouTube. So I shouldn't say it's whatever it was. I should probably count. It might be closer to 20 now. So thanks for those. Those go onto the YouTube tab, and on the 20th of the month is usually when YouTube sends out some scratch. So we're pretty much looking at that right around the other day, right? We just got that money the other day. So thanks for the membership. And also probably helps our channels. As far as like, I don't know if it helps channels. I imagine it would help channels though, having members. Anyway, thanks for that. The little YouTube thingy came up and let us know about that, so I can click it up on the screen. G23 is saying happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Then say, let's see what else we got out there. I'm scrolling through the beginning of the show, so some of these people may have come and gone by now. Krabby Turtle is out there. Like he said earlier that the tryptophan was kicking in, so we'll see if he stays awake for the whole show. And we'll throw in a $2 super chat. Thank you for that. That also goes into the pile to pay for the bills. There's Clover talking about shotguns. Talk about 22s, talk about shotguns, and you're probably going to get Clover to show up. Let's see. Jacob says, I have a Walmart Hatfield semi-auto Turkish shotgun. It works great. I fired several rounds through it. Oh, no. Is the puppy adopted yet? No. The people that are looking for it or lost it haven't looked for it, and I've attempted to give it to a couple of people. However, with the Thanksgiving and stuff, I didn't think it was appropriate to drop that onto people, so I'm kind of holding on to them. Also had a little hiccup in the get along with how long it takes to get his business taken care of. I kind of assumed, maybe a day or two whenever I decided to go get his business taken care of, but it's going to take till April to get an appointment. So I don't know what's up with that. That seems insane. I could literally take him to Vegas and have his business done in Nevada. I'm sure it's faster than April, but maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a shortage of veterinarians or something. The polls do not work on the Android phone, but the best Turkish shotguns are still in Turkey. Is that dog always sleeping? No. He sleeps about 80% of the time, I guess, like a normal dog. But then he wakes up and he has a spaz or whatever, and he runs around. But he's getting to be a big boy. So earlier today, he went outside and did both of his businesses out there. So to thank him for that and to encourage him to do that more often, we came in and had a session of playing with him and the other dog. And it seems like that has worn him out, I guess. He's only got like a little AA battery in there, so it's pretty easy to wear him out. So he's not always sleeping, but I guess it just worked out that he's snoozing for this show. G23, Daniel dropping $40. Right on. Thanks for that. Much appreciated. Meredith, that's a new name for the comments. Good evening. Baron is out there, so that's an opportunity to mention the show that comes on after this one. This show started at 10 o'clock Arizona time. At 11:30 Arizona time, which I'm pretty sure is a different time everywhere else in the country, is the Mouse Party, which technically is allowed to be on Wednesday nights, but they're breaking all the rules and doing it tonight. So wake up your puppies and let them know that the Mouse Party is happening in about an hour and a half from now. Let's see, Jacob, I said already, and Clover, let's see. Best parts about being a content creator is the fame and fortune. That's one of them. I like the perks and the free stuff. I don't know what any of that means. Let's see. Is there a mouse party? Yes. Cool. And I think oh, this is somebody talking about something from Europe. You're not going to get a lot of Europe coverage out of this chat, but feel free. Well, don't feel free because you're not free in Europe, I don't think. But feel free to throw whatever you want out there till a point, and then I'll delete it. All right, so we're talking about Turkish shotguns. We got a poll going over here. Best Turkish-made shotguns is double barrel, pump action, semi-auto, or my favorite, still in Turkey. So Turkish shotguns are going to get a bad rap, and we're going to talk about that a little bit tonight. Unbarred, uncensored, because guess what? I'm not sponsored by any Turkish-made shotguns. Never have been, and I'm pretty sure I never will be, because especially after tonight. So they make a bunch of different shotguns, but who else makes shotguns? Let's talk about what countries in the world make shotguns. Japan, Russia, Turkey, United States. Am I done? Is there any other state? Or maybe England? England, probably. So let's see where Turkey fits in there. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. Like, is they better than Russia? I don't think so. I've had a Russian Baikal before. It was pretty good. Clover saying Italy makes shotguns. DJ is saying Canada makes shotguns. For real? Come on. Got a bunch of votes for Italy. Oh, is that Benelli's? Okay. All right. I'll give you Benelli's. Finland? Come on. Let's not be silly here. Finland? What would they even need a shotgun in Finland for? And I'm not even sure. What's the name of the Finland? Valmet? Come on. Friends fighting there. They fight for EU and us bravely. All right. Well, that's good. I'm talking about Turkish shotguns in here. If the title of the video got y'all concerned about this being a political chat, that's incorrect. But you're welcome to stick around. I need a 1301 in my life. I don't know what that is. Germany. I'm trying to think of what a German shotgun is. I mean, I guess there could be one. But let's see. In reality, though, where are these Turkish shotguns ranking in this list, right? Italy? What are we talking? Benelli's? Come on. Those are super expensive. Where are H&Ks made? Oh, those are the German ones, huh? So H&Ks? Come on. They have too many parts and they're finicky, blah, blah, blah. But that recoil, what is that called? Impulse recoil? People can't get enough of that stuff. Plus, they're super expensive. So again, where are turkeys lining up in all of this? All right, here's one that no one has said except Bob, and he's not in here tonight. China, trying to make shotguns. So, all right, China's the bottom. And Turkey ain't necessarily the bottom or nothing. It's not like they're horrible, but here's the deal. Look at all those other countries. They're all above Turkey, unless somebody's going to challenge and say that Turkey's better than Italy. Come on. Turkey's better than Germany. Come on. I don't know what the England ones are, but I'm sure they're okay. I don't know what they are. Maybe they're bad. So I'll be willing to say Turkey's better than England because I don't really know, but I'm probably wrong on that. Clover's saying he has a Norinco pump. That's pretty sweet. I got the hiccups now. So a Norinco pump from China I'm trying to think if I have seen them before. I've seen a Mossberg, Chinese Mossberg, I think, at Don's, and it was fairly crude. But anyway, so I guess we're talking about the Turkish ones here. So I'm just saying it's not like Turkey makes bad ones. It's just that the people that make shotguns are typically pretty decent. When we talk about cost, however, now we're talking a different structure, pricing structure. I don't know what the Chinese ones cost because it doesn't matter because we can't get them. They're not importable. Canada can, well, they used to be able to. I can't think of anything that would be cheaper than a Turkish shotgun, though, and that's probably why we see so many of them. Now, has there been somebody made a video on this yet? Like, why there's so many Turkish shotguns? Like, why so many companies in Turkey decide to make shotguns all the time? You hearing that? I don't know. I might have known that before, but now I can't remember anymore. Probably just because they've had so many factories there. They got nothing else to do with them, so they make shotguns because we keep buying them. So I don't think their reputation comes from bad shotguns as much as, now show of hands, or maybe post a comment in there. How many generations of Turkish shotguns are you paying attention to? Clover won't say because he's pro Turkish shotgun. But in reality, I mean, I'm trying just shot show media days, because that's where I think of them all the time. And just AR-15 12 gauge Turkish shotguns. I'm not even talking I can just talk about 12 gauge AR-15 chassis ones. We got to be in generation 4 or 5 of those things by now. So they'll make one, and then they'll be around for a year or two. They'll be imported, and everybody will go, "Oh, I don't want one of these," and then they won't import them, and nobody will ever buy one again. And then a couple of years later, hey, guess what we came up with? A 12 gauge AR shotgun. Where is it made? Well, there's only one person ever going to make that, or one country ever going to make that. And there it is. And then it'll be around for a couple of years. So I'm thinking 2010 is probably when they hit my radar. And I'm not saying they haven't been around before that. And then what would that be? Every couple of 2-3 years? So 10, 12, 14. That's 5 or 6. I think we could easily be in the 4th generation of these things that I'm aware of. And that's one of the reasons I think they get a bad rap. Now, if you were a cowboy action shooter, and I'm not, but I've hung around them, I've been adjacent to them, they also have a bad opinion of these things, or they have no opinion. Some of them hate them, and some of them never had one before. Let's put it that way. And some people, but the people that use them in cowboy action, I don't think they like them. I can't think of anybody who's doing it long term that goes with a Turkish one. Is Chiapa Turkish? Chiapa's Spanish, I think. So, but that's another realm besides the AR-15 ones that I can think of where they'll keep coming out with different versions of them. And I don't want to say wear out their welcome. It's just that they're not that great. And they're not that they're bad made as much as they're just not useful for anything. And the features of the cowboy action ones, from people that tell me, are just not features you're looking for cowboy action. So they're good for like an introductory one. And then once a person sticks around in the sport, they go upgrade to a better one. But something's got to fill that role, and that's what these companies do. And some people buy their introductory one and keep it, in which case you need more introductory ones somewhere down the line. Chiapa is Italy. Oh, okay. That makes more sense, I guess. So I think that's the thing. I think that the Turkish shotguns, and I can't even imagine hunters, because hunting is one of those things. It's like, man, what is hunting like? All you got to do is want to go hunting, and you're a hunter, right? All you got to do is even buy stuff, and you don't even have to go. And now you're quote unquote a hunter, because who's going to challenge you and say you ain't? So some people are going to, use the garbage stuff you can buy at the hardware store and go camping and say, I went camping. and other people wouldn't even consider that. They're going to be using fancy stuff from the fancy companies that weighs ounces and can go on to sub-zero temperatures. They go camping. So some people are going to appreciate or have a lack of appreciation of a fine shotgun and be fine with any shotgun if they just go hunting occasionally, or even see people just go hunting once a year. They're not putting their shotguns to any hard use. Now, somebody who's taken their shotgun to like more than one continent, I don't think too many of them are satisfied with bargain basement shotguns that are out there without features and without durable materials and that kind of thing. And I think that's where they get their rep. So I think, but feel free if somebody's got a different perspective on it. But still looking for people who, I guess, I don't know, no comments have come in. I'm looking to see if anybody's got a count on how many iterations of the Turkish companies there's been. Now, I have no idea how the Turkish companies go. I've just never had the entrance to research it. If anyone's ever done like a breakdown of it, but I'm sure the companies are some number of factories and they just keep getting rebought or renamed, right? I don't think the factories get demolished and they put up a new building every time we see a new name on a Turkish shotgun or a new design of an AR-15. Let's see. Most of the Turkish companies are very, very modern with facilities way better than most would think. You're talking about in 2022, and they could be. If they put investment into their facilities. But then that was Clover, and then he's also saying there are over 200 gun manufacturers in Turkey. Turkey's pretty big, so I guess that makes sense. But at the same time, when there's 200 of them, that means there's a spectrum of them. So there's going to be some that are fancy and good, that have reinvested into their facilities and their machines and stuff. But others, are just going to keep rebranding with the same old thing all the time. Let's see, I'm trying to get these. I'm going to go back to the beginning so I get these things in order. So talking about Italy, Finland. I still can't think of a Finland one, but I could probably fill a whole shelf with guns I don't know about from Finland. Let's see. Berettas, I need a 1301. Again, it's probably some Beretta. Okay. And then outside of Turkey, everywhere else is pretty expensive stuff. Yeah, I mean, I can think of the stuff from some of the fancy, engraved and super expensive hunting stuff that's not inexpensive. Or I mean, that's not expensive. It's not cheap. But I'm also not thinking there must be something like Taurus or somebody down in South America that's making shotguns. There's no way South America is importing shotguns. Mayor the saying that China makes decent clones, but nothing to brag about. And Clover's talking about a pump. Man, I feel like I must have seen a Chinese pump before, but the one I can think of is one of Don's. But his stuff was like not always. It was, not production necessarily. Does Turkey export anything other than Canics and weird shotguns? Well, let's not forget that they make the HS-2000. I mean the XDs, don't they? Or no, those are made in Croatia. So then, I know there's a couple of other handguns made in Turkey, but they definitely make bolt actions and other guns. I imagine they don't make semi-autos because they probably can't have them there, but I don't know. Guntote Pacifist saying English shotguns come with a free cup of tea and a tea bag. They fit you for your tea bags when you go to get your English shotguns made. They're going to measure your arms and then they're going to measure for your tea bags. Stevens knockoff. So I don't know enough about shotguns to picture that, but I know Stevens is a shotgun manufacturer. Let's see, Clover saying Minorenko is very similar to an Ithaca Model 37, which is another shotgun I can't picture, but I could also fill an entire room full of shotguns that I have no idea what they are. Let's see. Now Jacob is saying to Roy that the T-Sauce is a line of 1911s out of Turkey. Okay, so I've heard people talk about those, but I don't pay attention. So, well made, I'm guessing. I think I've heard people talk highly about them. Gerson is from Turkey. What does any of these things mean? So does T-Sauce mean something? Does Gerson mean something? And does Kanik mean something? Has anybody heard the definitions of these? When we went down to visit with the importers of the Steyrs, which was Steyr and I can't think of the name of that gun. It's not Kanik. It was Karkal, I think. And it turned out Karkal was either a cat or like an antelope. I think it was a cat, like a lynx or something from the desert or something like that. So are they naming their stuff? And then Russia names a lot of their stuff after minerals, like the onyx. Or no, that's Poland. Poland names their stuff after minerals. And then Russia names some of their stuff after the critters that they're hunting with them. And I'm wondering what Turkey uses. These all just different breeds of turkey, maybe? Gerson, too. Yep. And then I think DJ is saying that the dog is snoring logs. He's definitely tired. All right, so let's see. Do we have any factories? Do any of the factories manufacture for other brands? Well, so if you ever watch Crump's thing where they go every once in a while and look at he does the public information, is that what it's called? Public information request, or whatever that's called, records requests from the ATF, and asks them for all the import records, and they'll see tons and tons of Turkish shotguns in there, and it seems like a lot of those are the equivalent of the Sears brands or like the local hardware store brands or the regional sporting goods store brands. So I'm guessing when those regional stores, someplace with enough stores that it's worth it to have their own shotguns branded or made, they'll probably get with one of those Turkish companies and say, sell us this many of them or whatever, and this is what we want them to say, and this is the specs, I'm guessing. But I think that's why, or I think that's where most of the OEMs. Now, are they making Turkish shotguns for like Winchester or Remington or Mossberg? That I don't think so. So Jacob's saying there's over 260 companies in Turkey. Gun Totem Pacifist saying, I'm a hunter, but in reality, I sit in a tree stand sipping coffee, occasionally shoot a deer. So that's another thing. Like if you got hunters all together, everybody goes, oh, hunters. Like if that's a thing. Well, first off, bird and critter and predator and big game and, there's a billion different kinds of hunting right off the bat. And then you just get to deer hunting. And then we were having this conversation the other day, deer hunting out here in Arizona versus deer hunting in like, I don't know, Wyoming or Montana versus deer hunting in Ohio versus deer hunting in like Illinois, or maybe not Ohio, because I think Ohio's got a lot of fields too, but I'm thinking like one of the Midwest farm states, Iowa, Illinois, versus like Pennsylvania or something like that, where there's mountains that the critters can book into. And then even out here in Arizona, we've got terrain, but we've also got, I think 50% of the state is sovereign nations. So when the deers know that it's hunting season for the USA, they just book into whatever reservation they're near, and they know where the borders are, and they just book into a different political region where they can live and thrive. And the same thing when they're hunting them in the res, they'll just jump out into public land because they know that it's not hunting season. They can go stand next to somebody during hunting season, nobody can shoot at them. So it gets a little bit weird in different parts of the country. You go just south of the border into Mexico, hunting's a whole different thing because there's no seasons from what I understand. And so few people hunting that it's all different thing. So yeah, there's definitely different hunters out there. And they yell mad about each other, like, who's really hunting or not. But I can remember even back in the day, it would be oh, I'm going to sit in the tree stand and hunt versus I'm going to sit in the tree stand and hunt with archery. Like, oh, I'm going to shoot in the tree stand and shoot with a pistol. So even if you had to do deep predation hunts, is that what it's called? Like when you're just trying to save the cornfields from all these freaking deers. Some people are like, I'm not just going to sit there. I'm going to try to make it as difficult as possible. So they'll go with archery, they'll go with a crossbow, they'll go with a pistol, they'll go with black powder or some crazy caliber, right? 9 millimeter. That's barely even possible to kill a deer. Sipping coffee, that's a little bit different. I guess it depends. But I can remember growing up, I didn't know anybody, but I knew of people, and they'd go out basically drunk, like just drinking, because the deer would come up and lick the salt or whatever. It's like they could basically just be having a good old time, and some dumb deer would come up and get killed. Let's see. So getting out of deer hunting into shotguns again. Clover saying lots of investment has been made into Turkish arms production since the 80s. A lot of NATO money goes into that sector. Well, that's interesting. I'm going to take a second and jump back over to the poll. We got a poll going over here. The best Turkey's made shotgun is, your options are double barrel, pump action, semi-auto, or still in Turkey. Pump action is winning. That's interesting. At least I can say that's decent. That's a decent, respectable one to win. Double barrel, I just don't think Turkish guns can be the top of the line double barrel guns. I mean, I got nothing against them. I'm just saying they got a lot of competition there. Competition that's really, really old too and established, right? Pump actions, they still got a lot to fight with there. I mean, all the established stuff, Remington and Mossbergs, plus everything else that we mentioned, all the H&Ks and stuff. So having people appreciate their pump actions is actually saying a lot. Semi-autos is what I thought would win because of all those stupid AR-15 looking ones that people love. And here's the thing, people love them. I don't know why. People love them. And then, I don't know why, but they'll love them, and then they quit buying them, and then the company goes out of business, and then a year later, somebody else comes along and people love them again. So it's like this on and off relationship with US and those AR-15 shotguns. So I thought that would win. But I can't think of any other pumps or semi-autos that they make. They don't really make 1100 looking things that I know of, but they might. And then still in Turkey, I kind of figured might win, and it's only coming in second place. So I feel like there's not enough hatred of Turkey on Thanksgiving. Let's see. So then Jacob is saying, oops, hold on. Jacob is saying Rossi makes a shotgun or used to. So that's what I thought. I know they make little 410 situations. Clover's saying Turkish does import rifles. The knockoff XDs are made in Turkey. So the real XDs are made in Croatia. You're saying there's another version of the XD? I don't keep up with the pistols enough. The big hurdle for Turkey is they can only import certain things. You mean we can only import certain things from them. But I think they also don't have much business like in Europe. Nobody in Europe is going to buy something cool from Turkey, even though even if Turkey would sell it to them, they're not allowed to buy it. So we might be one of their biggest customers because we're one of the only customers, right? Well, maybe not only, but big of the few. Let's see. Turkey does 1911s and Browning clones very well. That's from Gun Tote and Pacifist. Barron says, isn't Turkey's main export terrorism? See, that gets into the whole political thing. I think there's people that hate Turkey based on what Turkey does with all that money. Let's see. And then Clover's defending their classics. Gerson is made in... Gerson is because it is made in Gerson, Turkey. Oh, you're saying that the name of that company is just the name of the town? Well, I wonder what the town is named after. Or does it have a meaning? Sometimes it just means like Riverside or something, or sometimes it means like City of Lions or something like that. Freedom of Information Act. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. FOIAs. Don't forget that in World War II, Turkey made Mausers. What do you mean? For the Germans? Or they just made their own versions of them? I don't know if I knew that or not. Clover saying that turkeys have been making guns since way back. Let's see. Freezing your butt off. One of the things that I would imagine is one of the things nowadays is all the different heaters and stuff. Like they make electric. Back in the day, they made electric socks. Electric socks must be way better than what they used to be back in the day. And then you could probably get like electric butt pads or something. That's what I'd have. Clover saying that 80%, or no, 80 do retail and the rest are just military and law enforcement. There's Patriot out there. Good evening. Jacobs and Clover are talking about the T-sauces. Does T-sauce stand for something? Let's see. Gun Tote and Pacifist talking about the deers again. Sometimes I think the deers are smart, but then I see how they behave and think they're dumb. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's one of those things like a flock, but birds themselves are almost on and off. Like they can't almost do anything alone. But for something about flying in a swarm, that it can take on an awareness. And I think that when they get in the mode of like a pack, or what do they call them, a herd of deer, I think. When you get in a bunch of them, then I think they're relying on each other's senses, if that makes sense. They know when they can relax and the other ones go on a heightened sense. And I think when you get them alone, sometimes that's when they don't have all their wits about them. But I don't know. I don't really hunt that much. Definitely not for deer. And the deer out here are totally different. Out here, we stand on one side of a hill, usually sit there on one side of a hill, and then look at all the other hills around. And it's always hot, so the deers are usually sitting in shade, poking their heads around, wiggling their ears. And that's all you get to see is some deer ear wiggling and maybe a tail flap fug away or something, but most of the time they're worried about a cat or some mountain lion killing them. So they're not trying to make any noise or do anything. At night they'll walk around, but good luck. Let's see. Chicago Mike's out there. Good evening. T-sauce. Tis blah, 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 ass. So it stands for something or another, ass. A Turkish firearm manufacturing company mainly focused on manufacturing pistols. Right. So the name of the town is Trabzon. Trabzon. We need more things that end in zon. I like that. More towns that end in zon. That'd be pretty cool. Let's see. Mike saying, I'd rather take control when dealing with a shotgun on a pump as opposed to a semi-auto, you mean? G23 is answering still in Turkey. Then let's see. Gerson makes a Benelli clone. I imagine all guns after 25 years, they lose their copyrights or their patents or whatever that's called, and then other people can clone them? Or is it just, hey, well, we're going to clone this. What are you going to do about it? Then Gun Tote and Pacifist saying mag-fed shotguns are a great idea. Practical, not so much. Yeah, I understand. And that's probably a facet of it. I don't know if how far behind I am on these or not, but if you're referring to the phenomenon of those AR-15 looking 12 gauges coming and going every couple of years, that's a giant piece of it. And that's one of the reasons that I hate shotguns that have magazines. And one of the reasons I bought shotguns with magazines, because I thought I was going to love it until I owned them, and then I hated them. I hate them. I will never be an advocate for them. And I think that that's the fact that the magazines or the shotguns had magazines is why I bought them in the first place, or I got them in the first place. But yeah, I could not stand them. I had a bunch of Segas and what do you call that thing? What do you call the ones from Tula? The other one. So they're neat. I mean, they're certainly well made and everything. the AK shotguns are even better, right? Segas and stuff. But magazines are insanely stupid. Giant, biggest magazines in the world, and they have like 10 rounds in them. It's ridiculous. It's useless. So the idea of shotguns is good, but in reality, probably just a double barrel is the way to go, honestly. So Clover Tech saying, look how, or no, wait, Jacob is saying to Clover, look how many issues the Kimber 1911 had and the price you pay versus the TSOS price. All right, well, that's apples and oranges to some extent, because Kimber 1911 is like saying at least 3 different states that I'm aware of and multiple owners also spanning from the back in the day till today. And TSOS made their, unless I'm wrong, put most of their equipment together in the not too recent past, and then started building guns based on the knowledge of everyone else in the world up till whenever they started making guns. So Kimber cutting new ground and being there when creating high-end 1911s, when your only other option was like Colt, or I don't know, Clover might know what the options were back in the day. Sure, when you got more and more options and you got better and better machinery, you got more and more experienced machinists building 1911s, way more feedback, more effective feedback from customers, so that design and implementation of corrective, design issues can all be incorporated into the next designs and stuff. Yeah, everything gets better, unless they just have a complete lack of respect for trying to do quality control, which I don't think Kimber ever did that intentionally. But looking at the weaknesses of the Kimber evolution over time, that's not fair to look at them compared to a new company. So I get what you're saying, but I think that's apples and oranges personally. But it is true. If you pick up an old Kimber, it's going to be like picking up a 1960s, Mustang. It's not going to be the same as buying a brand new car and driving it around with your cruise controls and your CD radios or whatever they got in them now. But it's not a 1960s car either. The 1960s car at the time was the best, and it was super cool. And now it's old and falling apart. So I think it's one of those kind of things. Your 1911s at the time, look at their rivals at the time type of thing. I guess I probably should have actually clicked on that comment instead of just talking about it this whole time without actually clicking on it. If I had an intern, I would yell at them for not clicking on that at the right time. Let's see. So Chicago saying, or Mike is saying Kimber 1911 is a hit or miss. Yep. Same thing I just said all applies though. Let's see. Contona Pacifist says Gerson means city of 1911s. Probably could. Patriot is saying even Mossberg has Turkey guns made in Turkey. Really? So Clover didn't even know that one. Jacob is saying that the Turkish made Turkish Mausers in, and that, I don't know what that is, for the Turkish military. I have one. Okay. Was Turkey on our side or on the German side? What the hell is Turkey? Oh wait, it is over there. Was Turkey for the Germans? Or did they just like the Germans' guns and use it against them? I have no idea about that one. Oh, let's see. So most Gerson firearms can take the same parts as the original. Oh, really? They're that much of a clone. That's interesting. I like the fuel rods used to light and put those asbestos clamshell cases. They're really scary. Watch that documentary film, The Birds, by that old fat guy. Wait, what? So I'm probably pretty far behind, but Clover saying the patents expired and other companies pick them up. And then Jacob saying that Turkey makes a Winchester Wildcat 22 that I want. Really? And then Patriot said that his daughter's Silver Reserve over and under Mossberg is made in Turkey. Interesting. I had a Winchester over and under, but it was made in Russia. So I wonder if those are made in Turkey now, or if they're, well, I have no idea. Winchester, or what is it? That was How was it? Is it a Winchester or a Remington? I think it was a Remington. But I wonder if other companies are having over and unders made in Turkey. Oh, here's Clover saying he's in the pocket of Big Turkey and that he is on the record multiple times testifying about how many major brand shotguns are made in Turkey by turkeys. The worst part is they're made by turkeys, and that's one of the reasons they can look crude, because they don't even have thumbs or nothing. It's hard for them to hold a hammer. I mean, I don't even know how they use saws and stuff. Mouse Party. I'm getting rushed by the Mouse Party. It's coming up in 40 minutes. Even though it's on the wrong date, and I should be able to go along as I want because it's my evening, but whatever. So now the Mouse Party's going to crouch in. This could be a 3-hour show, but the Mouse Party's going to happen, so I can't make it go 3 hours. Sorry. Let's see. Jacob saying they entered the war a few months before the end only to aid and help escaping Germans. Oh, what a bunch of assholes. Well, maybe that's another reason people don't like them. Patriot in the Dark, yep, that's basically the exact same shotgun as the Yildiz MX Clays that's imported and sold by Academy. Let's see. They came in late in 45. They were neutral prior. So they were like, well, let's be neutral until the Germans are losing, and then we'll come in on the German side. That's a real good move, Turkey. Let's see. They were Remington shotguns made in Russia, too. That's the one I guess I had then. Yeah, there's no such thing as a Winchester shotgun, is there? So I probably had a Remington shotgun made by Bakil. Super good. I really, really liked it. I think I got it at an artificially low price because it had a crack in the stock. But as far as features and just being nice, although I can't say that I've ever shot or, for any length of time, I might have pulled the trigger on a nice shotgun before, but I've never run whole matches or anything with a really nice shotgun. So that Bakil for me was a super nice shotgun, just very lightweight, very strong, and the single trigger double up and, over and under. It's really nice for a $300 shotgun. Let's see. So is Fun Life going to be doing videos? What does that mean? Why wouldn't he be doing videos? Or did Clover make a new channel for Fud Life or something? Or no, he already has a channel for Fud Life, doesn't he? Clover saying he has several videos on the main channel talking about the Turkish stuff. He gets paid by Big Turkey. That's why this guy likes Thanksgiving so much. Let's see. Turkey. Foss is saying the host of the overnight. Or no, wait. The host. Well, he's also the host of the overnight. But the host of the Mouse Party himself is saying that Turkey was allied with Germany in World War I. So they have a history. They've hooked up before. And I know it's a big country, so they probably had multiple opinions of Germany. There are Winchester shotguns imported from Portugal. Yeah, but I'm pretty sure I had a Remington. So then Jacob's saying, last I heard, Mauser owns Colt, Winchester, and Browning. Not sure. Yeah, Mauser is an old company, and that would suck if they own those companies. But all of those are for sale. I don't know if Browning is for sale. Isn't Browning still owned by the family? I mean, they make stuff all over the place, but I thought the company was still run by the family. I know the company is still in Utah, or at least the last I looked, it was still in Utah. And that's, I guess, why I thought it was the family. Although I guess if they were still in Utah, or I mean, I guess if it was still the family, then they would own their great-great-grandpa's house and not just have it sit there for sale all the time. Since we're talking about Browning, we're adjacently talking about Browning. We were kind of talking about Browning for a moment. This one time in 2010, we went to Salt Lake City to go to a thing called the Outdoor Retailer Show, which is sort of like SHOT Show, except it's a little smaller, and it's for like outdoor stores or sporting goods stores, I guess you'd say. So there was no guns at all, but there were, like, you take the guns out of SHOT Show, and you take all the gun stuff out of SHOT Show, and you replace it with like kayaks and bicycles and hiking and stuff like that. but you leave all the flashlights and all the knives and all the, I don't know, that kind of stuff, the camping and hunting related stuff that isn't guns or hunting, but all the camping and outdoor stuff from SHOT Show. And so you imagine like Spyderco, instead of being like mostly police knives and military knives and then a couple of camping knives, it was mostly camping knives and fishing knives and then just a couple of military knives. So it was kind of neat to go to this show and see the different people that at the time we knew them all, and have an experience with this different type of show and kind of see how they go from military police back to camping and then to fishing and then to probably motorcycle shows, like a company like Spyderco can hang out and go to these different shows and be useful at all these different shows. Anyway, it was pretty neat to go up there, and when we were up there, that's when we first went up to the Browning Museum, which is just north of Salt Lake City. And while we were there, which was an awesome experience, checking out the museum, the lady that was, I don't know what to call them. They're just the ladies that make sure you don't do nothing bad in the museum. And they're also there to be nice. She goes, "Oh, you guys really like this guy. You can go see his factories or whatever in his house." And in the town where his museum is where his factories, he had 3 different factories. So he started off in his house, and the factory was sort of across the street. It was just a little building. And then they moved the factory downtown a little bit after he invented a couple of guns and got it going with Winchester. Then he invents the 1911, and they build an even bigger factory that's like 7 stories tall, and it's a real factory. The first elevator in Utah, I think they say, and a bunch of other cool stuff. So you can go to those factories and touch them. I've touched all 3 of his factories, and the one is a kind of a place where you can do weddings and stuff. We almost got to go in that. Anyway, that first time we were there, we were walking around the town, checking out those factories, and then we found his house. And his house is, well, it's almost always for sale because it's one of those houses where you have to keep it. I thought you had to keep it with no electricity and like a museum or whatever. But the last time we were there was people living in it, so I don't think it's like that anymore. But anyway, so whenever we were there the first time in 2010, it was a little bit premature, but I just started to make some YouTube money and stuff, and I could see that there was probably something to do, doing the show and tell YouTube stuff. And that place, I think it was 50 grand. But the problem is you had to keep it. It was like a museum. You couldn't do a lot of stuff to it. You couldn't put electricity. You couldn't change very many things about it. But for a minute there, I seriously contemplated moving to Salt Lake City and then setting up in Browning's house and making Gun Websites headquarters, the Browning house where he, raised his kids and where he lived during the time he was inventing everything. But don't have 50 grand. Didn't feel like moving to there and didn't. But kind of thought about it one time in 2010. Anyway, so that's a Browning story. So let's see. Clover Tack is saying, nope, Browning is owned by Winchester and Colt is owned by CZ. I knew the CZ Colt thing, but I wasn't sure if that had jumped again. Because once they start getting bought and sold, then they're just coins in a poker game, and then the companies just start passing it around. Patriot saying, in the Australian movie, the water diviner had the World War I fighting, had them in World War I fighting the turkeys. I don't know if I remember what that movie is. Jacob saying, after its 1989 bankruptcy, the company was acquired by FN, which also owns Browning. The privately owned company continues to manufacture under the Winchester repeating name. So you're talking about Winchester was bought by FN? And then Clover saying FN owns both Browning and Winchester, but then there's Olin on the ammo side keeping up. Can be confusing. Do not trust. Well, that's the thing. And the names of the companies are like the owner, the companies themselves that invented stuff own the copyright. So sometimes a company will be bought because they want to own the thing that the company owns, and they may or may not keep the brand name around, right? Sometimes they keep the brand name if it's got some traction, but sometimes the brand will just get incorporated into whoever the other company is. That can definitely get tough, and I've attempted to do that a few times, but there's a lot of it, and knowing where to draw the line is tough. You start doing I've tried to do it before with either maps or timelines, but trying to map out or visualize the firearms industry, especially over time. Wow, it gets super complicated. It's on the list though. It's on the short list. But once I can get a couple of more abilities down, it'll be in there. It'll be one of the things we work on. But yeah, it's a tough one. And then it gets crazy confusing once the companies start getting bought and sold to each other. It's the movie where after the battle, the dad goes on search for his dead kid and finds him. I have no idea what you're talking about. Water Diviner. I don't really watch movies from World War One though. I never understand anything that's going on, and I never really learned about World War One or anything in school, so I can't think of too much that I relate to from that era. So I never really watch movies like that. I'll watch World War Two movies and other stuff, but I hardly ever watch World War One stuff. I don't watch anything earlier than World War One either. I guess I should say, but that's probably a factor of not having a lot of movies from back then either. Well, we're about an hour in, and this dog's been sleeping the whole time. You may not know this, but this dog's been sleeping the entire time we've been sitting here on the thing. So, I guess I warned him out. Let's see. Put this back on. Flip this over. Come on, dude. He's so far away that my camera can't zoom in enough. He just looks like a little dumpling or like a potato nugget. Or I'll flip a little tiny ear. I'll help you get your bearings. This is one ear. This is out the other ear. This is the tail part. Look how he's wagging his tail even when he's sleeping. All right, what's Clover saying? We watched the 2014 RoboCop remake tonight for the first time. All right. So this is a subject for Wednesday, but we'll talk about it today since obviously there's no rules today because it's Thanksgiving and the mouse party's tonight anyway. But there's two new remakes of good movies from the 80s. One would be RoboCop, but as I was reading that, I was also thinking of the other one. So the one from RoboCop, though, is both good and bad. So first off, let's find out if Clover liked it. We're going to kill this Turkish shotgun pole over here because we're pretty much getting the same. Oh, actually, it went to double barrel 7%, pump action 37%, now tied with Still in Turkey, and then semi-auto at 19%. But we're ending it. And we're going to start a new poll, and the new poll will be, if I can grab it from Clover, so I'll have to type it, 2014 RoboCop remake. All right, love it. Like it. Hate it. Or have not seen it. Boom. So no spoilers, but it is a million years old already. It's almost 10 years old. So Clover is saying G23 didn't even know there was a remake of RoboCop. Come on, man. So Clover saying, yeah, I thought it was pretty good. There's a lot of nostalgia for me with the old one for sure. Good Tony Patfist is saying that pug's got a long tail. Do they cut pug tails? Is that one of those things where they cut them? I'm used to cut tails for sure, but this dog's tail curls a lot, so that's why I figure they leave him on. But I don't know nothing about pugs. I'm learning. That might be one of the reasons somebody got rid of him, because he has too long of a tail. So Clover dug the RoboCop. We're going to see, looks like 40% of people haven't even seen it. Look, you don't have to feel bad because it's Thanksgiving, but you can watch this movie. What are you not watching it for? If Clover's seen it, come on. Let's go see if it's on YouTube first off. So then you can really feel bad if it's free, because it might be free on YouTube. So let's go back to screen sharing. Let's bring Sharon back up here. All right. So my audio is still working. We go to the YouTubes and scroll over a little bit. Go down below your subscriptions and you're going to find movies and TV. I never really go down here except for when I want to look at free movies. And then you can flip over to free movies. All right, let's take a look at some good stuff. We got action adventure. What are we talking about? RoboCop might be under sci-fi. So we're going to, oh shit. You can watch Taps for free. You see this? All right, you're welcome in advance. I'm leaving you with this tonight. When we end, you'll be able to watch Taps for free off of YouTube. A bunch of you don't even know what I'm talking about. You're welcome, because you're about to watch Taps for free off of YouTube. And the rest of you know what I'm talking about. You're welcome, because now we know that you can watch Taps for free on YouTube. Nice. The Net is also super good. Wait. Yeah. The Net is the one where she's the hacker, right? It's pretty good. Geisha's actually pretty good. So these are a bunch of dramas that aren't actually all that bad. Oh, crap. What happened? But let's get down to, oh, look at all the animation ones. Here we go. Science fiction. Johnny Mnemonic is super good. There's a whole bunch here that I haven't seen, so that's interesting. And why don't we just try going up and typing it in then? Nope, that didn't work. So, I feel like I watch RoboCop on YouTube. That's why I'm typing it in here. I guess I need to type in 2014. Yeah, I gotta pay for it on YouTube. So you can watch it other places, but let's go look at pictures from RoboCop 2014. These are spoilers, but it's also from 2014, so it's your own fault for not knowing that the movie exists from 2014. But let's take a look so you can see why we're talking it's different than that original. So Clover liked it. I mean, I like pieces of it, and then I don't like chunks of it. So RoboCop is an important movie, and they're not allowed to just screw with it. We all know that. There should be laws about it, but they haven't made laws about important things like this yet. So RoboCop is not a movie to be screwed around with, but RoboCop already screwed around with RoboCop. So RoboCop started good, and then it got less good, and then it eventually became not good at all. All right. So wait, it needs back up on his little place. So now he's back. The new RoboCop is woke, so it's just kind of lame, but it was the beginning of woke. Also, it's wrong. It's like super wrong. They took RoboCop and they made it bad in certain ways. So the whole part about him being able to come in and out of the suit, it's ridiculous. I don't know where they came up with that. The black version of RoboCop makes no sense, right? And the things that he fights against is the parts I liked. So when he goes back to being like the new modern RoboCop, so this is like the black RoboCop. They give him like this, what is that Spider-Man thing, that alien that gets Spider-Man? They give him like a black version of his suit, of his RoboCop suit. I mean, it looks neat for like a picture or whatever, for like an anime or something, but it ain't RoboCop, right? It's some sort of, that's not Spawn. What do they call that black thing that gets Spider-Man all the time? It's an alien. So it looks like that, and it looks stupid. So these are the things that he fights all the time, and they look pretty good. So these are like drone RoboCops that don't have humans in them, and that's what the RoboCop human fights. This is what the RoboCop human will eventually look like. So he looks like a modern version of RoboCop. He looks all right, but are they going to show him like the pieces of him? He's like in this like modular thing where he's got like a lung and an eyeball and a whatever, and they can take him out of his RoboCop suit, and he just lives there eating applesauce or whatever without his RoboCop suit. And that part is just dumb. I didn't like that part. It was distracting and it didn't make any sense. Also, the way that they used the software to run his brain was stupid, and I didn't like that part either. It's messing with RoboCop, and they don't need to be doing that. And I'm pretty sure it should be illegal for them to do that kind of stuff. But just redesigning him, this looked pretty good as far as like RoboCop. I don't know how to say the words. Like it's not CGI; it's a real suit that they put on him, like a Venom. Thank you. That's what I was thinking of. They did a pretty decent job of his RoboCop suit. It probably looked better than the first RoboCop because that first RoboCop was probably all foam and everything, right? All right, so Patriot's saying it's on Prime from Amazon's. Let's see. And CNT is out there. Good evening. Oh, jumped in earlier. Let's see. Gary Oldman is one of my favorite actors. That's one of the reasons I like it. He did a good job. Which one is Gary Oldman? I don't know who that is. Is that the dude who was RoboCop? All right, we got to go look who Gary Oldman is now. For me, it's easier to just say the person who is such and such in a movie because I don't hardly ever remember their names. Seriously, how long is it going to take? Why is this picture taking so long to show up? Am I still online? What's going on? How come none of these pictures are showing up? Is what Gary Oldman looks like? Oh, it's that guy. I don't know what that guy does. But yeah, I know who you're talking about now. He was in other movies. Let's see. So Baron is saying a PG-13 RoboCop and then thumbs down thing. So I didn't think about that. That's one of the reasons I figured it was woke because they just like RoboCop doesn't kill anybody anymore. He just pushes them over, right? Like he doesn't want to hurt anybody, so he just shoots him in the eye or whatever. Like he's not RoboCop anymore. He's not mad, that's for sure. He's like fairly upset. All right. And then we got everybody saying Venom. Thanks for that. Symbiote. Yep. Parasite suit. That's what I call it. Everybody's saying about Thanksgiving. Gizzard is saying he's an Oldman. Nice. Well done. So as far as the new RoboCop, I dig the concept of it, but I've only probably watched it like 3 times, and I can't even count how many times I've watched real RoboCop. I'll still go watch real RoboCop once in a while, but it's got Ed 209s in it, and it's got RoboCop in it. CNT is saying RoboCop should act like Punisher in a metal suit. That's exactly what they're missing in this new one. Now he's like a polite police officer in a robot suit, which doesn't make any sense. Except that he's like a polite police officer in a robot suit where they keep flipping a switch, and then I'm spoiling it, but it's also almost a decade old, so it's your fault. They keep flipping a switch, and then the computer takes over his head, I think. Isn't that the story? Clover just seen it. And I don't know. I mean, it wasn't the same RoboCop story. RoboCop is supposed to be what? I don't even know what it's supposed to be. I guess it's just revenge. But instead of any of that, it's more of like, should the human in the robot suit be able to control his own brain? Like, where'd that come from? Like, that's way too science fiction for it, I think. But it was well made, and it's pretty good. The robot's going super fast in the building, and then the guns, it's pretty bad gun stuff. All right, so as far as the results from the poll for this 2014 remake of the RoboCop, 38% only like it, 12% love it, 12% hate it. It's interesting. And then 38% have not seen it. Of the people who have not seen it, now that Clover has chatted it up and we've described it so eloquently, are you going to go watch it? You can just answer that in the text chat if you want. Not that we get paid one way or the other, either way. Let's see, CNT is saying like when they're reprogrammed the real RoboCop in one of the original movies and made them all polite. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. That was more of like a way to fiddle with RoboCop, kinda. In this one, yeah, I hear what you're saying. I guess they did do that as far as like programming his brain or whatever. But in this one, they made that like I guess they do kind of make that a thing in the real one. But in the real one, he did it in a real way, like he poured champagne on the keyboard or whatever, and then the computer couldn't control him anymore, like in a realistic way. But in this one, I don't know. They use a bunch of CGI. Patriot saying it is not described. Tried to watch it twice, but it's useless. So if people don't know, when Patriot checks out movies when he feels like it, he'll check out these movies with descriptions, and they're really cool actually to experience. So it's the regular movie with the regular, what do you call, like audio, but then there's also somebody saying like, and then they walked into the room, like so and so picks up a thing off the table and wings it at that other guy and stuff like that, to kind of give you an idea what's happening for folks that ain't seeing it, but also anybody who ain't watching it. So it's better than a book on tape because it's not a different story. It's the same thing with all the sound effects and all the timing and pacing and stuff. So definitely an interesting way to check out a movie. Described movies. I think that's the way you'd find it, right, Patriot? If somebody was searching for them. But in this case, there's none for the new RoboCop. That's interesting. I wonder why, because again, it's almost a decade old. So I'm going to talk about that other movie since we're sitting here talking about movies, and I got a little while before legal action happens for the mouse party that'll be starting just after this show. Since we're sitting here, here's what I'll do. I'm going to go over to my YouTube by clicking on the YouTube thing, and I'm going to right click and open that in a new window so that I have two tabs open, I guess in a new tab. And then I'm going to find the mouse party, right? And I'm going to grab the URL from it by copying it. And then I'm going to go back to this video. Yes, I'm editing the video while you're in it. It's going to feel a little weird. It might feel uncomfortable, kind of like a hand is reaching up into your rib cage, but it's just me. It's no big deal. I'm just up here adjusting some things inside the video. It's no big deal. And now I'm going to click customization. Come on, just save already. And then customization. And now I'm going to go down to redirect. And after this video is over, I'm going to paste the mouse party into there and click on it. And now as soon as this video is over, it's going to recommend that you go over and check out the mouse party. Anybody can do that if you have the common courtesy to help your audience and the viewers of the next channel or the next show. So then you go back to details and then you click on this link, and what does it do? It opens a new tab all the time because that's how YouTube is. So let's see, should I change the playlist on this? I don't really have a good playlist for this. Well, let's see if there's a shotgun playlist. How many playlists does your channel have? Short barrel shotguns? There's shotgun videos. There we go. Done. I bet you I have more playlists than you. This is how many playlists my channel has. All right, so now this video has a playlist to hang out in, and it has a video that it's going to recommend to you on the way out. But until the way out, let's talk about another sci-fi movie that I thought Clover was talking about at first. And it's also a movie that's awesome. And then they made a new version of it, which some people hate and some people like it. And that is, I can't think of the name of the movie now. What's the one with Mars and Arnold Schwarzenegger's in it? And then they go to Mars. And in the new one, they drive through a tunnel through the center of the Earth instead of Mars. I don't know why I can't think of it, but that movie. Somebody will think of it. So it's Total Recall. There we go. So Total Recall from back in the old day. It's a freaking epic movie, and it's better than a regular movie, like a regular action movie, because you can watch it over and over, and it's got more layers to it than you can imagine. So Total Recall is an awesome movie, and it was epic from back in the day and whatnot. But now they made a new Total Recall, and it's pretty bad. But it's also got some amazing CGI in it. Like I say, the real one is supposed to be Mars, and it's really good. These are all Philip K. Dick stories, I think. So his science fiction is really cool. As far as like understanding the way we went with the internet and stuff, he kind of saw all that stuff a long time ago. So his topics and stuff I really dig them. But they took it to some tunnel through the Earth instead of going to Mars, and that drove me nuts. However, the visual, whatever CGI and stuff is nuts. It's really, really, really good. Those weird, like, I don't know what they are, the robots that they're making, and the whole reason they go to the other side of the Earth is to make a robot army, and the robot army is freaking cool. So if you've seen the movie I, Robot, it's the same. It's like the I, Robot robots are the bad guys in the new Total Recall. So it has no business being called Total Recall. They don't go to Mars, and they're fighting robots the whole time. The only thing that makes it Total Recall is the guy goes to a place to have his memory wiped intentionally, and then doesn't know if he's really a secret agent or not. So anyway, what do people think about the new Total Recall? So we're going to go back and look at the poll from RoboCop. And we've got still a dead heat. 38% have not seen it or like it, and then 12% hate it or love it, which is weird. But we're ending the poll right there. And now we'll do a very similar poll. Oh, look at the YouTube censorship, but won't let me start a poll. What, have I started too many polls, YouTube? What's up with that? They won't let me start a poll. I think that's messed up. Jacob, throwing a buck in there for a super chat. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. On Fridays, which will be tomorrow, technically, today maybe, depending on where you live, we're going to be doing a super chat thank you thing. So we had something like 4 super chats, I think, prior to today. So maybe 6 or something. You got pretty good odds of winning something in the super chat thank you. So thank you for that. So did you, or what did you think? Let's put it that way. Does anybody know when the new Total Recall was made? What year? I don't think it was 2014. Is it that old? And then will be similar answers. Great. Good. Okay. And ain't seen it. The YouTube overlords. Oh, what, did I get kicked off or something? Okay, so there's the new one. Let's see. So CNT is saying to Patriot, if you like audiobooks, check out the Galaxy's Edge series of books. I love that series. It's like Star Wars, but with balls. I've listened to all of those books many times. Galaxy's Edge. Who wrote it? Do you know the author off the top of your head? I don't think I've heard of that one before. I'm a big fan of listening to audio tapes of sci-fi. I really like sci-fi books. I've read them. I mean, I'll read them if I had nothing else to do. If I was like grounded or if I got put in prison, I'd probably read books. But when there's an internet to play with, I'm not going to read no book. But I'll listen to audiobooks, and I think you get a better visual whatever. Like an idea of what a visualization is. That the way to think of it? Like, I think your brain does a better job of coming up with stuff. For example, Foundation. One of the best things ever is Isaac Asimov's Foundation. It's a really long series of books, and it's weird and dumb and goofy, but it's long, so it's but good and bad. But it's super long, and it's super weird, and it's super long. And they made a TV show, I think Apple made it, and it just sucks so bad. They didn't even try to make it like the book. All they did, the only thing close to Foundation is the name. Like everything else is just garbage. It's different, it's interesting, but it's not Foundation, so it has to suck because they ruined Foundation. But one of the reasons they ruined it is because Foundation was so huge, such a huge topic. It's essentially a guy who comes up with seeing the future, and then they go into the future. So there's like no way to make a TV show about it because your star would never be in it. Like, oh, the star of the movie came up with the thing. Oh, and then he's never in it. So the beginning of the books is some guy, and they refer to him, but he's long dead in the rest of the books. Anyhow, so in order to make the TV show with an actor, they just added a whole bunch of layers of BS that just didn't need to be in there, and ruined it completely. Anyway, we're talking about Total Recall, and let's see. Honcho is saying new Total Recall was not good. The OG Recall was great fun. Now they put a lot of, I forget the word, Matt knows the word, whatever they call it when you put a little something in the new movie for the people that like the old movie. Like they put some of that stuff in the new Total Recall, but the fact that they made it a tunnel through the earth instead of Mars, like it doesn't count. Like you don't get to say, hey, remember the old movie and then ruin the new movie. Like if you're ruining the new movie, just ruin it and leave the old movie alone. It's like it's more offensive sometimes to some people, I think, to me occasionally, when they'll refer to an old movie when they're in the midst of ruining it. Jason something Nick Cole. I don't know what that is. New Total Recall was made in 2012. Oh man, it's even older than that. Okay. What time tomorrow? I'll be driving in New Orleans. I might not make it for sure. Oh, at the midnight Eastern, the normal time for this show. Because Arizona doesn't change our time zone, every once in a while, I'll set this show up for 9 p.m. instead of 10 p.m. because I keep forgetting. That'll do that until 5 minutes before the time switches back, and then I'll keep forgetting the other way for a while. But the show's at midnight Eastern. I always just leave it at midnight Eastern, no matter what I accidentally put in there. I'll usually forget, and I'll put it in at like 10 a.m. or 9 p.m. And if it's ever for one of those times, that just means I didn't do it right, and it'll still be at midnight Eastern. Patriot saying he still listens to the old-time sci-fi radio shows, Orson Welles, X1. I don't know about that one. I don't know if I've listened to a lot of the sci-fi stuff. I might have listened to some Flash Gordon. But for whatever reason, I've listened to a ton of the comedy stuff from the radio days. Just a ton of it. Let's see. Then Honcho is saying it has some callbacks to the movie, but it was still just rehashed. Hollywood is all about reusing stories versus coming up with original content. Yeah, and I think what they're doing is they're desperate to cater to the people that remember the old movie. So it's not like they even care about the old movie, and they want to make sure that the next generation experiences it. I think they're just going back to dip into our pocketbooks because they know that we care about the old one. We're going to watch the new one. Right? And that's even more lame than if it was like Star Wars or something like, hey, we want to make sure Star Wars, even though they screw it up half the time, they're trying to make Star Wars still exist. It's not like they just keep making the same Star Wars in 15 different versions with like different people playing the roles so that they can say that they're doing something different when they're basically just doing the same thing over and over again. Oh, let's see. Then Woods out there. Good evening. My favorites are the Old Noir Johnny Dollar radio show. Oh, I don't know about that one. Oh, snap. And then we're going to talk about a third movie, I guess, now. So I'm going to have to end it because of the Mouse Party just started. So we got to end this thing. But if you haven't seen the new Weird Al Yankovic movie, again, you're welcome. Go watch it. It is super funny. Super good. All right. With that, the Mouse Party is starting. So we're ending this one. I would go recommend you check out the Mouse Party. It's starting now. When this one ends, it'll insist. It'll kind of, in a non-violent way, it'll grab you and shove you over into the Mouse Party. So you were warned. It's happening, and we all know it's happening. GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. All right, thanks again, everybody. Have a great evening, and hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving. Have a great rest of the holiday season. Thanks for joining us.